Hello, and welcome back to the gardens, everybody. Garrett with Loving This Land, and I always do. Hey, I'm over here at the old family property in Chelan, Washington, Central Washington, for all you non-Washingtonians watching. And yeah, this property has been in the family for about 80 years now, since 1939. The property itself is 100 years old, the house, and the whole area is pretty old here. My great-great-grandfather bought it, but I'm starting to work and regenerate the property as far as getting some more life going here. There is still some great things from my great-great-grandfather's time that are still growing and feeding us, but I'm adding my stamp to the history of this place now. So what I'm looking at first is this apple tree that is same 80 years old, and it's been around, and I just did some serious pruning to it this year to kind of bring it down from being so tall, keep it all easily harvestable. Don't want to have to go too high, and we've always had problems with worms in these apples, and I'm still trying to cure that. We still get a little bit, but I'm going to take some serious work over this year and next year to eliminate that. I'm going to be using some neem oil, which interrupts the breeding cycle of certain insects, but that doesn't necessarily help with the worms. What I'm going to do is use some worm castings as a spray and spray it over the tree, which some people hypothesize that works. So I haven't read any actual case studies that say that it works for sure, but a lot of anecdotal evidence that says it does. So I'll be giving that a shot. It's got the old apple tree here, got an old cherry tree here, and also an old apricot tree right here. Boom, boom. So the issue I've been having, we are at war with the squirrels now, and they took all the cherries. You can see all these pits on the ground here, and they took all the apricots. Again, not a single apricot left. It's supposed to be about harvest time now. You can see all these empty pits on the ground, and they actually take the apricots before they even ripen. So that's what the tricky part is, trying to battle them on it, because all they want is the seed. They just drop the fruit, let it rot. They take the seed out of the inside, don't even take the pit. So they're pretty wasteful, and they've gotten pretty greedy. So we're at war with them, and we're actually going to the means of, the ends of killing them now, because I can't scare them off. I can't get rid of them. I can't share. Normally I'll share with a certain percentage of the wildlife, but when they're taking 100% of my apricots, 100% of the cherries, and I'll show you the walnut trees over here that have been taking 100% of those. So yeah, it's just not fair anymore. So I'm gonna get rid of that. Been planting a few just random things around here. Got some amaranth, which if anyone doesn't know, amaranth is a gorgeous plant. It's a grain, and it produces these big grain heads which will dry out and become all the seed, but you can use that in place of wheat. It doesn't have gluten, so it doesn't have quite the rise and structure of wheat-based bread, but you can certainly do things with that and add baking powder as a leavening agent and other ways to make up for that. But the leaves are also edible, and almost a tougher spinach. They're more often cooked. Some creature or some bug has been eating a little bit of the leaves. But got some raspberries going, got some old roses here that again are original from my great-great-grandfather's time, and some sunflower and whatnot. Just put in some blueberries this year. I'm excited to see those take off, because blueberries can do pretty well around here. So we got 4 of those here. Just started mulching this place out this year. It hasn't had mulch in years. We've been taking all the leaves out of here, but not adding anything back. So finally injecting the life, and so those blueberries stay mulched over there, which helps because it gets really desert hot over here in Chelan. So this year we had another apricot tree there that I finally took down because it's had some rot going on. So took down, put some cuttings in place to see if they'll take off. Installed a hazelnut tree there and a different type of hazelnut tree here. We'll see how those take off. I love hazelnuts. I love hazelnut flavored things, so definitely hoping to have some of that. Those are all irises right there, and they're past their blooming time, but they're gorgeous and such an interesting flower when they bloom, and they have a rhizome-based cluster of bulbs, so they spread really easily. And so they've covered this whole hillside. Huge, massive maple trees that not quite the kind I want to tap for, but This is an old walnut tree that I've been doing some serious work on because it has a lot of death going on it. The other walnut tree is gorgeous, but this one has some issues, and I've been starting to regenerate this whole hillside of adding mulch and nutrients, and I'm going to pick up a big load of manure to add to it this year because it's just been eroding and everything dying off. But there, I discovered this year, there are currants growing on this hillside, red currants. They actually have these little berries here, and these ones aren't quite ripe. They will be soon, but not that tasty for eating and sweet, but make excellent jams and sauces and syrups. So I'll be making some of that, and I actually discovered it's growing all over the hillside. I believe it was something, again, my great-great-grandfather planted. Got the old garage here, old chimney, beautiful honeysuckles. So over here we're absolutely loaded with walnuts this year, and again I'm really trying to eliminate the squirrel population before those are done in the fall, because these will continue to grow and that outer husk will get dry, and then on the inside is the actual nut with the actual shell and then the nut. So just see how much this thing is loaded this year. Walnuts everywhere. If no one's ever seen walnuts growing, they're really cool, and they have such a potent smell. All the leaves and all the walnuts themselves, such a potent smell. And if you don't let these dry all the way off, if it's a season where some of them still have like a greener husk, you go to scrape that stuff off and your hands just reek of it. But as you can see, this tree doing way better than the one over there, and so not quite sure what the issue is. Generations of guys have been peeing on the base of that tree. You can see a weird nub on the bottom, so we are hypothesizing that may be the issue, because that is a weird tumor at the base of that tree. So these are all lilacs, and they were gorgeous around just before Memorial Day, just huge things of purple flowers, and over on the other side some white ones. We had purple, pink, and lavender colored ones. So this year, yeah, I've been getting rid of all the death on this hillside and adding more mulch and breaking down those branches, and I'm going to be adding manure to where next year I'm going to cover this hillside with berries, be putting in some huckleberries since they like the shade, put in some more blueberries, some elderberries, just cover this hillside, and then also continue to let what is naturally growing here want to grow, because there are several things that are growing themselves here that I don't even have to mess with. For years, again, my ancestor planted this rhubarb here, and I just tore down the seed pods today and let it shake around, but it produces thousands upon thousands of seeds each and just spurts them everywhere. So it's starting to spread. I mean, it's spread itself all over the place. You can see it's all the way over there. I've transplanted some, but just things that want to grow naturally here. All of this is catnip, and it's going to flower right now, and it has a really pungent smell. In its natural form. It is related to the mint family. Again, it's in that Lamiaceae family, so it actually has a square stem, if you can see that, not a circular stem, and that same structure that you'll see out of mint, out of basil, of how it grows and branches out of the armpits and just continues right there with these ridged leaves here. That's how you can kind of identify catnip versus some of your other Lamiaceaes. Very specific leaves there, but such a pungent smell. And I personally, I don't have cats or anything like that, so I use it. It's actually very calming as a tea, but I'm using it to make tincture. I have a friend's dad who made a bunch of moonshine, so I'm using that to make tincture out of it, just soaking it for a couple months. So yeah, the catnip, this mullein here, mullein is, I forget the medicinal properties of it, but it is a good useful plant, but it's also beautiful. The pollinators love it. It starts to grow out these huge big combs of yellow flowers there, but the leaves are also smooth and soft. They're great for toilet paper. They won't irritate you at all. They're great for your buttocks. So yeah, I had some collard greens that I actually planted here last year, and they're continuing to grow, and the deer come down and eat them down, so they've just continued growing back and branching out. That's why that one still looks so compact and branched out, but it's starting to seed out. And collard greens has a much bigger seed pod than its other relatives in the brassica family, like kale and broccoli and whatnot. So it produces those same little yellow flowers that they do, but then it produces these seed pods, and these ones are massive. They're almost like a bean. Like you can see, they're like half the size of my hand. I showed you guys the mustard seeds at the other garden, but these are twice the size of a mustard pod, and you can always eat those pods too, but these ones are pretty tough. You'd probably have to cook them first or pickle them or something, but I'm just gonna let them go, let them bust open, and hopefully have naturally grown collard greens around here. I planted some strawberries out last year, so they're starting to send out their runners. Since I haven't been around here, you know, Chelan is 3 hours away from our home in Renton, so I don't get to monitor it. I didn't get any strawberries off of this. They got eaten by the slugs, but they are starting to branch out to where hopefully I'll get more eventually. And yeah, all those bushes up there are just currant bushes I discovered, so had a good handfuls of those. So yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a quick peek of the property here. I planted some beans this year and just got them trellised. And again, I'm not here much, so it's just for fun. I'm not really actually getting much harvest off of that, but sporadically some different family members are here, and we also rent the place out when we're not here so that other people can get some use out of it, and then we also get some supplemental income to take care of the place. But so I don't mind if renters are eating this food. I just want it to grow and have some fun on some family property that used to be very well utilized. You know, I planted some tomatoes over here just right on the porch that, again, I don't care if I get any harvest, but it'll mostly be tenants getting these cherry tomatoes, and some lemon balm down there to make tea out of, some bunching onions, and we'll be set. So yeah, I'm glad I got to show you guys the old family property. I love this place. Hopefully as I continue to give updates this summer, you guys will learn to love it too. Have a great day, guys. Get to growing, loving this land. Hope y'all do too. Peace.